Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. So as Adam said, let's change the topic and talk about shared service. First, I'd like to emphasize, and also as stated yesterday by Jan De Bunny in his presentation, that shared service is one of the 6 requests from funders to centers. A bit of the background. So last year in our EiB annual meeting, we had 2 sessions to start discussions on shared service. I put here some quotes, and you can read more. You can read the minutes of that session from that sessions in our website. First quote is, thinking on the future state bottlenecks, we have to address redundancy. Decentralize as much as is needed. How to optimize in one CG, optimizing staff and deployment, talent development. Also from that meeting, some areas were identified as key areas for us to work on developing these shared service: phenotyping, genotyping, biometrics, and product management. Okay, so let's discuss the initiatives that EiB is involved. We have started several initiatives. Some of them, of course, they are more advanced than others. Some are still in the early stage, and some more advanced. In phenotyping, we have the initiative to establish the Breeding Operation Alliance of Excellence. We have also the initiative to start the digital phenotyping as a service, and also phenotyping for quality and nutritional trait as a service too. We have the breeding scheme optimization, and the EiB team is developing this scheme optimization framework. In IT, we have the deployment of EBS and biometrics support. And probably the most advanced one is the genotyping service. Before we go on the details of each one of these initiatives, we would like to talk about the opportunity that we believe to be a key component for breeding organization, that is decentralized operation. As most of you may know, we currently have in EiB the Integrative Research Support Unit. That is the unit that is accountable or responsible to deliver all research operations. Similar to that, NICRISAT, they started implementing last year the Crop Improvement Operational Team. That the different names, but the scope, they're similar. ICRISAT is a little bit different because they have different crops, and that's why some differences too. ICRISAT, as I said, they are still in the early stage. They started last year, so many things to do. EiB, this centralized operation is strong in the headquarters, but there are many things to do in other countries, in the other areas that they operate. But what if we, instead of thinking only on centers, what if we think beyond that? How could we create a cross-center operation platform? What if we had the trialing regional multi-crop research hubs? That would be a hub with dedicated team, specialized team that would be accountable to deliver all research operation as activities for all crops within that region, and offer this as a service. So the idea is, how could we implement regional hubs? As I said, these hubs would provide service to different breeding programs. They would require SOPs to deliver services that are not in their current portfolio, and they would need to agree to perform activities for other centers, and vice versa. No. So in order to make progress on that, we are working with IITA and with ICRISAT to strengthen the capacity, to strengthen and to provide this service. And given the importance of Eastern and Southern Africa region, we need also to discuss with centers in that region on how to create that. Of course, we need to discuss more. There are many things that we need to do. We need to also discuss on how to use EiB experience. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. There is an opportunity. There are many things to do. We don't know exactly how will be this one CGIAR structure, but we are presenting this here because we believe this is an important topic, and we need to receive feedback. We need to work with you to strengthen this idea and implement these things. So let's go about on each specific initiatives that we have now. In phenotyping, as I said, we have 3 initiatives. The first one is to implement the platform or high throughput phenotype platform for agronomic traits and field phenotyping. So our goal is to have an operational team, or could be also a service provider with proper tools and protocols, that they would go to the field based on a request, generate images, and this image would be uploaded in a platform, in a third-party platform, that this would be sent later to the EBS. Okay, so other initiative that we are implementing is the Breeding Operation Alliance of Excellence. The idea is that this would be a group of experts in operation, engineering, mechanization that would provide support to breeding programs in a regional scope. Okay. The other one that we are now in the process to recruit 2 of them. The other area that we start working this year, and we start discussing with some labs, is the implementation of similar and high throughput genotyping, the grain quality and nutritional trait as service. Okay. Okay. So the other area that we have is genotyping. Okay. In order to support the adoption of shared genotyping service, we'll be prioritizing in our work in 2021 in 3 areas. And these areas, they are aligned with the Crop to End Hunger, this network strategy. First one, centralized deployment strategy. Why we need that? The deployment and the uptake of genotyping tools and services have been uneven. Currently, this is skewed towards better funded crops with better technical support. EIB will be working with key stakeholders to develop a unified trait strategy, establishing a community of practice with support from Module 5. Under the hub model, we envision that QA and QC to be routinely done at key breeding hubs and properly costed. Genome selection strategy will also be implemented on a network based where CG and R's programs are playing strategic roles. CG more on coordination and analytical support, and R's more on multi-location trials, where most of the stage 1 materials will be tested and genotyped. The other focus for 2021 will be to have better operationalized genotyping. We work towards operationalized genotyping as part of a routine end-to-end breeding cost. To support the transition, EIB, through Crop to End Hunger, will put in place a multi-crop charge account to support genotyping expenses, which are aligned with the hub model of Crop to End Hunger. Module 3 will be working closely with center operational teams to optimize usage of genotyping service, especially on logistics and planning to optimize the return of investment based on the current cost structure. The final aim is to transition all breeding programs based on the scale of pipeline towards data point allocation, instead of having genotyping resources coming from project funding for greater sustainability. Network coordination and support is the other area that we'll be working. This is one of the current roles of Module 3, and we will continue support that and expanding logistics trainings to more users. With the Crop to End Hunger Fund, we also plan to leverage existing personnel at regional hubs, train the trainer model. Working with all partners, continue together and make available latest molecular resource on a common platform. That would be the EiB toolbox. More integrated database is also in the plan, working with Module 5 EBS team. We will also continue fine-tuning existing service and support based on breeding program needs. I would like now to invite Eduardo Covarrubias to talk about the breeding scheme optimization support.
Thanks, Gustavo. Well,
I can hear you well.
Okay, perfect. So thanks everyone. Gustavo, could you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so what this EiB module offers to its partner as a shared service. I think we have been working for some time with most of you, so I think you know more or less what I'm going to share with you. But in essence, we support the breeding teams to clearly articulate their pipeline investment cases as requested by most of our donors. We have been also supporting the breeding teams to come up with these detailed descriptions of their breeding schemes, like these blueprints for their pipelines as cyclical processes with clear decisions taken at different stages, divided in crossing, evaluation, or selection. Also, we have been supporting the breeding teams to optimize the breeding pipelines for the decision-making part related to accuracy, speed, size, and proper germplasm management. You can see there in the slide that there is 3 different areas because we like to put this in the first one in the knowledge base. You know that in addition to the direct support, we have been providing different tools and know-how, such as the how-to manuals for specific processes and concepts in breeding, COP videos, the COP forum, Six Sigma methodology tools that we use in the breeding scheme support, simulation reports that we have been developing with different breeding programs, and in essence, I mean, all the information is being stored there, I hope in a very structured manner so it can help the breeding teams. Additionally, we've been building capacity through trainings in quantitative genetics and tools that we expect to actually expand next year in 2021. And in the case of software tools, we've been working to together with the Roslin team and UW-Madison and other consultants to create what we think is going to help the breeding programs to make better design of the breeding schemes. We call them just provisionally the breeding scheme descriptor and the breeding scheme designer that will be available in 2021 together with the Alpha SIM-R and quantitative genetics code currently available in GitLab. And I already referred to the knowledge transfer with the trainings, visits, etc. Of course, what you can expect in 2021 is an expansion in the direct support, and thanks to the expansion on the team as well. It still is going to be focused on the crop bioregion priorities, but we expect to also take a more scaled approach, especially with the capacity building by enabling a very nice training on breeding scheme design. That we have some tentative dates, but we are still pending on how the COVID situation evolves to provide more clarity. And of course, the simulation software GUIs, etc., that I mentioned. So thank you very much. If you have a question, please feel free to reach out to Dorcus, Christian, or myself for more details, or just at the end of this presentation. And you can also join the breeding scheme optimization breakout room later on.
Okay, thanks, Eduardo. Let's, I think would be Liz presenting data management and biometrics support.
Thank you, Gustavo. Yes, I'm going to be looking at the support that we're going to be providing with data management and biometrics. And in this group, we've previously had 2 different communities of practice. One is data management and one is biometrics and bioinformatics. We're actually going to be combining these into a single informatics network. And this group is going to be responsible for then spinning out different working groups, which will be tackling problems of near-term relevance. And these working groups will be working together for 3 months to a year to be able to address these topics. And we'll also be providing project management expertise to be able to help those working groups come to conclusions. And those working groups are going to have immediate impact. They're going to be responsible for some of the requirements for the enterprise breeding system, especially in the biometry space, and coming up with SOPs and ways of working for future centralized services. So one of the key areas that we're looking at right now is the resources that are needed around biometry. And as everyone knows, these are very center specific and unevenly distributed. And really, we're seeing that most centers are in need of additional analytical support to facilitate continuous improvement plans. And these needs, Youngwire is evaluating these needs right now, and positions will be funded to support gaps for high priority areas. And another area that we're working in is not just delivery of the enterprise breeding system, which is a new software which integrates a number of different existing softwares, but how we actually get that out efficiently to users. And so to help and facilitate that, we're implementing a training and adoption network. And this will include individuals that are already working in this space. And again, those gaps for high priority areas will be funded as well. And this training network will build the skills for CGIARs to support their own breeding programs, and then also to support NARS within regions. And we really want to be focusing on crop cycle training. So this is training that happens as part of the breeding programs to help breeders set up experiments and then also to collect trait data, rather than that traditional classroom style training. And these are some of the key activities for that network to harmonize documentation across the breeding management systems that we'll support, especially in the area of digitization tools, which are common across those systems. Also provide training for digitization, such as barcoding and data collection. Data curation is extremely important, especially for breeding programs that are moving to a new system. So this will be part of the support too, as well as coordinating rollout of the EBS, the new system, training to support that, and go back one, Gustavo, and collect requirements for the EBS system. And we'll also be tracking adoption with KPIs. Next slide. So this just outlines what the EBS rollout is looking like right now, and we're focusing in this next year on CIMMYT maize and wheat and IATA maize. We have version 2 is available right now, and this will be available to early adopters very, very soon. At the same time, we'll be rolling out version 2.1, and this will be available to early adopters, including IATA maize, by April of next year. And at this stage, we hope to have a demo version as well with dummy data, and any crop can take a look at that demo version and determine when they want to be onboarding to the EBS system. So version 3.0 comes out in the middle of next year, and that will include integrated analytics, so end-to-end data management, and that will be available for all breeders at CIMMYT maize and wheat and IATA maize by the end of the year. And at this stage, other crops can start onboarding too. So thank you very much for your time. We could open it up for questions.
Great, thank you all. And just a reminder on EBS in the Expo booth, there is a demonstration video if you'd like to explore the EBS system. So thank you, everyone. We're going to open it to questions, which you can insert in the comment box or request video. So the panelists, please remain on screen. And we do have one question from Juan Rosas, who has asked, I think this is for Eduardo. He'd like to know a little bit more about breeding scheme optimization and simulation support for NARS.
Yeah, that's a good question. Up to now, we have been working exclusively with the crop by region priorities, which basically reduces to 8 crops. And each of these crops has many pipelines, and we've been helping them to answer certain questions on how to make the decisions on changing crossing evaluation and selection decisions. And we have been finding that actually several, I mean, once you derive the genetic model, the answers look relatively similar. There is just certain principles that drive certain changes. Sorry, let me just move. There is someone got in the grass. So in essence, we are planning to actually just summarize all those learnings and try to extend the support to more programs in a more scaled approach that may include some of the NARS programs. I'm having currently some discussions with BISH to make sure that we can do this efficiently.
Okay, thank you, Eduardo. We don't have any other questions at the moment in the comment box, but I have one for you guys, which is obviously 2020 has been a year of all sorts of challenges due to COVID, and a lot of the services that we offer some of them are on the ground, and so given new challenges related to things like supply chains and lockdowns and access to laboratories and things like that, have you been able to angle your services a little bit towards meeting some of those new needs?
Can Adam, good question. Definitely, this is tricky this year. We have challenges to define demand because some things like implementing phenotyping service, we need to understand the demand and to facilitate the implementation or discuss with vendors. So how to define demand if this year was not that clear? So some challenges, and we need to adapt and change our plan. So that's why we have some projects probably will postpone the delivery to next year. So there are things that we were planning to deliver this year and we had to adapt. Certainly, some impact on this sense. Yeah.
I think it really emphasizes the importance of having more videos, training videos. So we're trying to build the capacity with online training videos to support outreach and training activities. And it really emphasizes the need for that regional support as well, to have people on the ground in the regions that are more able to get to specific local locations for on-the-ground training.
Okay, thank you. So we do have another couple of questions in the comment section. So this is a very broad question from Mohammed Ishak, and let's see who'd like to tackle this one. So he asks, how do we strike a balance between national interests and farmers' needs in shared services?
Yeah, I can comment. I think so. The national interest need to be aligned with the farmers' need. I mean, everything that we do needs to be aligned with that. At the end, I did not understand what would be the difference. It's the same. It's I mentioned to the product profiles and
I have the impression that actually this question doesn't necessarily come to us. I mean, if someone has to align the importance between the national programs and farmers, that might be the NARS and the CG programs. I think it's more for excellence in breeding to support one level up. But I guess if someone wants to add an answer on that question, we would be happy to hear it.
Okay, thanks, guys. So I think we have time for probably one more question. And so this one is for Liz. How does EIB plan to integrate breed-based databases along with the EBS-based databases in the shared data management operations? So if you can tell us a bit about that.
Right, so EBS will be focused on non-clonal crops for now, whereas breed-based is focused on clonal crops. So the two will continue to be funded, but we really want to look at commonalities across those two systems that we can support through EIB. As I mentioned, the digitization processes, how we do sampling, digitization, those are certainly common to the two systems. And whether we can build an analytics framework that can also be used by breed-based users, so that they will see a common analytics pipeline, whether they're in breed-based or in BMS or in EBS.